pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we have, so we're good on the quorum, correct?
Yes, we have exactly 16.
All right, we do have some issues with some people having to leave early, so we're going to go and jump into the discussion and action with item number 1.
I would move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve item number 1. Motion has been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 1 has been approved. Jump forward to item number 2.
Item number 2 is discussion action to approve the proposed amendment for the federal fiscal year 2016-2017 Unified Planning Work Program to Program 90,000 of Federal Highway Administration Planning Funds to Subtask 2.4 Demographic Forecasting and Travel Demand Modeling.
Yes, this additional, good morning.
Good morning.
To everybody. The additional services will focus primarily on the enhancement of the sensitivity.
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, Salvador Gonzalez, with the El Paso EPMPO, manager of travel modeling and research. The idea is to enhance the sensitivity of the new travel demand model for ports of entry and improving non-resident travel modeling as well. That's the objective.
Move to
of the plan.
approve.
I have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Any other discussion? Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Abstentions. Forgot some housekeeping stuff. I do want to welcome Chuck McMahon from the Doña Ana County, his first meeting here with El Paso MPO. Welcome on board. Also, we do have Genevieve Bales from the FHWA on the line. Jumping on to the next item, item number 3.
Item number 3 is discussion action to approve the recommendations from the Transportation Project Advisory Committee to amend the Horizon 2040 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, the current plan, and the Horizon 2017-2020 Transportation Improvement Program to A1, deprogram Loop 375 Americas Joe Battle, MPO ID number F403X-CAP to widen from 4 to 6 lanes divided from FM 76 North Loop Drive to Bob Hope, and deprogram Loop 375 Americas Avenue toll lanes project for widening to 6 lanes divided, additional lanes tolled, MPO ID number F040X-MOD from FM 659 Zaragoza Road to FM 76 North Loop Drive, both in fiscal year 2018. Item 8.2 is programming the Loop 375 Americas Joe Battle Widening Managed Lanes Project, CSJ number 2552-03-049, MPO ID number F056X-CAP to widen from 4 to 6 lanes divided from Bob Hope to Zaragoza Road, with additional lanes from North Loop Drive to Zaragoza Road to function as managed toll lanes using $22,225,380 of Category 2 funds and $12,274,620 of Category 4 funds for a total of $34,500,000 in fiscal year 2018. Item B1 is deprogram Loop 375 Purple Heart widening project, MPO ID number F053A-CAP to widening 4 to 6 lanes from US 62-180 Montana to Spur 601 in fiscal year 2019 in the Horizon 2040 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and the Horizon 2017-2020 TIP, and deprogram Loop 375 Purple Heart Frontage Roads Project, MPO ID number 401X-CAP to build 2 lanes frontage roads from Montana to Spur 601 in the developer list of the Horizon 2040 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Item B2 is to program Loop 375 Purple Heart widening and construction of frontage roads project, CSJ number 2552-02028, MPOID number F057X-CAP to widen 4 to 6 lanes on the main lanes and construct 2-lane frontage roads in each direction from Spur 601 to US 62-180 Montana Avenue, using $27,274,000 of Category 2 funds and $17,389,725 of Category 4 funds for a construction total of $44,663,725 in fiscal year 2019. Item number C is amend the I-10 Connect project for description clarity to include US 54, Interstate 10, Interstate 110, Loop 375, interchange improvements, MPOID number 1034X, MOD, CSJ number 0167-01113, for example, improvements to existing ramps and adding auxiliary lanes from Loop 375 Cesar Chavez Border Highway to Yandel Drive, using $4,655,874 of Category 10 funds, $9 million of Category 7 Surface Transportation Program Metro Mobility funds, $16,330,000 of Category 12 funds, and $54,649,045 of Category 4 funds for a construction total of $84,634,919 in fiscal year 2019. Item D is amend the Desert Boulevard Rehab and Turnaround Project, CSJ number 2121-01091, MPOID number A13X, Rehab and Operational Improvements to Frontage Roads and Turnaround Project from Westway Boulevard to Loop 375 Trans Mountain and turnaround from off the limits and describe as rehab and operational improvements to westbound frontage roads. From Westway Boulevard to Loop 375 Trans Mountain to change one of the limits and describe as rehab and operational improvements to westbound frontage roads and turnaround from FM 1905 Antonio Street to State Spur 37 Westway Vinton Road, using $7,490,000 of Category 5 congestion mitigation air quality funds in fiscal year 2018. Item number E is program the Project Amistad Federal Transit Administration FTA 5310 project for Project Amistad to purchase Americans with Disability Act vehicles, information technology equipment, and fund a mobility manager staff position and operations project, MPOID number T109X, using FTA 5310 program funds, fiscal year 2016 funds for capital in the amount of $350,028 and $87,549 local match, and operations in the amount of $322,222 and $322,222 local match, for a total of $1,082,021 in fiscal year 2017.
Good morning. Greg Nickel,
Excuse me,
Chairman.
Myla, can you restart over? I noticed Walter Miller was not paying attention. And I want to make sure he gets it all, so if you don't mind doing it again.
Yes, sir.
It's all right, Walter.
Thanks a lot. Yes. Good morning. Greg Nickel, Chairman of the TPAC. I had to read this the first time for the meeting, so I kind of appreciate what you just went through. It's a mouthful. Just to real quickly on items 1A and 2A are basically deprogramming two projects and making it into one and adding some money. And same thing happens with 2B and 1B and 2B. It's the same thing. We're taking two projects, putting them into one project, which no doubt probably do with better, just better getting the process to get the project accomplished with. None of these projects require any conformity issues, so we present that's items 1A, 2A, 1B, B2. C and D are kind of standard, just changes that occur in the course of a project that we present to you. And item E is there was a call for projects that we're just reporting back on the outcome of that. Recommended to you all for approval.
Move to approve.
I have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second? Second. Motion has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item has been approved.
Item number 4 is discussion action to approve the recommendations from the Transportation Project Advisory Committee to approve the recommendation, to approve the amended Horizon 2040 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, the Horizon 2017-2020 Transportation Improvement Program, the Transportation Conformity Report for the amended Horizon 2040 Metropolitan Transportation Plan.
Again, good morning. This is kind of a carries the action that we just presented and that y'all voted on, and addresses all the various changes throughout the two the documents, the STIP and the TIP. I recommend it for y'all's approval.
Okay.
Uh,
I have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second? The motion has been seconded.
I'm
Discussion?
sorry, who was the first and second?
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have the public comment?
We do have public comment from Mr. Mike Rooney.
Thank you, Mike Rooney. I've been bugging the city over the last year, probably driving them nuts on potholes and pothole repair, and then also street striping. There was one pothole in one of the intersections near me that was inadvertently missed. I sent in an email, and I wanted people to know it was repaired the next day. So I really appreciate that. Pothole repair and road striping, it's not flashy. It's not something you can cut ribbons and get a lot of good PR out of, but it's a quality of life issue, and if you're dodging potholes every day going to or from work, it becomes quite irritating. I know the city is in budget development, the county is too, so I hope you'll kind of look at the budgets for those departments, and I know you can't do everything at once. There's one of the big discussions going on is getting these long stretches of road, but please don't forget pothole repair and road striping. Thank you.
Can I comment? Mr. Rooney, one thing I do want to mention, that this is not an isolated case where somebody emails us and they take care of it immediately. One thing that the city has done really well in the last 3 years really is with the city manager and his team with the new Lean Sigma process and projects, with Mr. Matkes also leading it. They've done a really incredible job of doing quite a few more potholes than we ever have, and also saving money. So they've done a great job. So I want to make sure that people know it's not an isolated case that we take care of it immediately. They actually have done an incredible job in the past 3 years of taking care of it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The
Yes, sir.
first thing Fred did when he came in was made sure I saw that pothole was repaired. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have from the Housing Authority of the City of El Paso, Art, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Provengi. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much for having us. My name is Art Provengi. I'm the legal counsel for the Housing Authority of the City of El Paso, and we have kind of an unusual request of the MPO. We are fortunate enough to have an MPO representative visit us at our January 25th board meeting, the Housing Authority's board meeting, and she explained to us about the opportunity to put in for an FTA 5310 grant for vehicles and personnel and whatnot. We do quite a bit of transporting of elderly at the Housing Authority, so we thought this was a great opportunity. We've never done business with the MPO prior to this. When we were told about the application, we were told that the deadline was March 10th at 12 p.m. So we've got that locked in our in our calendars as being the due date to make sure that we get everything turned in on time. As we went ahead and progressed, our grant writer began by downloading the application from the MPO website, it's like 30 some odd pages. And in that particular application, there is a section dealing with due dates, and it seemed like the drop dead deadlines that we needed to meet. There's a date there. It goes from the original date of when the RFP was released to another date of February 24th, information that needed to be turned in as well, and it goes on from there. What is not there is a February 20th date. The significance of that date, we came to find out later, unfortunately, was that was a deadline by which we needed to reach out to MPO staff in order to set up an interview with them. I believe it was a 30-minute oral interview with them with regard to the application process. We weren't aware of this. It wasn't in the application itself. We had gone through what we thought were all the requisite icons on the MPO website. We just did not see that. On February 21st, our grant writer received an email from the same representative who approached us in January saying, oh, by the way, here's this email. The email was dated February 15th, and it was from yet another member of the MPO staff, and was directed to about 40, 50 individuals. And that email basically reminded everybody of the February 20th deadline. We were not part of that email originally, obviously, because we weren't listed there. It wasn't until the 21st that when we received the email that we realized that we had this deadline. Immediately upon receiving that email on the 21st, our grant writer contacted Ms. Stokes, who sent out the February 15th email, and asked to set up a meeting. She said, unfortunately, that's a hard and fast deadline. You missed it, and so therefore we can't schedule you. So that basically knocked us out of the running. We understand that. We accept that. We appealed it and received a letter from the board chairman telling us of the decision, and we accept that as well. We're just simply asking the opportunity to have this information put in the application so that it's readily available, so we don't have to search for different icons on the MPO website. I
Mr.
understand
Provini, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay. So, I just wrap up real quick. Thank you. So basically what we're asking is a housekeeping measure in the future and doing business with you all, if you can please put those dates out where they're readily accessible or available, like on the application where we would expect to see all applicable deadlines. Thank you very much.
You want me to follow up on that? Do you have any public comment?
We have Mr. Scott White.
Okay. Couldn't follow up and then? You want to follow up? Yeah.
Michael Mina for the El Paso MPO. So we had received a protest from the Housing Authority, and what we did is that we reviewed their protest, and in doing that, we followed the prescribed procedures that this policy board has adopted. We further communicated to the Federal Highway Administration along with the Federal Transit Administration, where the Federal Transit Administration took the lead and reviewed our policies and procedures and have affirmed them. So moving into the future, there is a discussion with the federal partner just to ensure that the MPO is following its processes. And so the letter before you here on the monitoring screen demonstrates that.
Mr. White?
We have Mr. Scott White.
Good morning. I'm Scott White with El Paso Bicycle Pedestrian Coalition. Good morning, everyone. I once again would like to thank this policy board for passing the active transportation plan, except that I don't see it reflected in some of the projects that are listed. In fact, many of the projects that are listed here that we saw in item 3 and even reflected in item 4, because what we're basically doing is we're widening roads, we're adding roads, which is equivalent to addressing obesity by loosening your pants. What it doesn't do is doesn't encourage mode shift. It does not encourage active transportation, people walking, people biking, making sure that those facilities, which as part of the policy approved by this board, are actually included in those projects. We need to make sure that this is there and that funding is there, because if the funding is not there, these are the projects, parts of the projects that will not ever get built. If we wish to make sure people have a safe way to walk, to bike, to skate, to get to transit, we need to make sure those elements are there. And so when we look at both items 3 and item 4, where we talk about non-compliance with environmental issues, one of the best ways to do that is mode shift. It's not making sure more cars can move efficiently. It's looking at how we can get people out of cars so we're not producing that pollution in the first place. Not for the big trips, but for the simple little trips. To the store, to the school, walking to the bus. These are the simple ways that we can make that big difference for our community. We need to keep that in mind as we move forward and we look at these plans, as we look at these projects, that we're doing the kind of things, the simple things, that we're kind of overlooking, I believe, now. We need to make sure they're front and center, that everybody sees them, and we know that with the exception of a couple projects, like the airport road project, where there is a hike bike trail as part of it, that these elements are included. Thank you.
That's it for public comment.
Thank you. Then we jump over to item number 5 under reports.
Item number 5 is report from the South Central Regional Transit District.
Good morning. I'm David Armijo. I'm the Executive Director for the South Central Regional Transit District, and I have been before this board before, back a year ago, to get approval for this grant that I'm going to talk a little bit about today. I think he's setting that up. I have brought schedules. I don't know if we'd like to pass them out. I'll just leave them for somebody to have, but this does have the information that I'm presenting in the presentation. Here we go. Okay, that's right. I'm doing the work here. Got it right. Thank you. So first, I want to just give a little background on the transit district. As you can see from this slide, our service area engulfs 3 counties: Doña Ana County, which is the primary county we're going to talk about today about our bus transportation. But we do have services planned to go as far north as Sierra County, and we actually have some service in Otero County now, specifically our orange line that goes into Alamogordo. Oops. I think I hit the wrong slide. Here we go. We currently have several operators in here that you all are very much familiar with. We have in our district, you can see our system map on the left, which has at the very top in green a route that's proposed to begin later this year to Hatch. That'll be our green route, and that'll bring us to 6 routes in our system. A little bit lower to the right, if you can pick that up, that's our orange route that goes into Alamogordo. That's the Otero County area. But the regional transit operators we have today is Las Cruces has the Roadrunner. That's been in operation since 1984. El Paso Sun Metro. I used to work for Sun City Aero Transit, so that goes back quite a bit longer. And that service, of course, is engulf the municipal area of El Paso County Transit, which you're all very familiar with. New Mexico Gold's Gold and Silver Lines, Sunland Park's 83 line, which is operated by contract by Sun Metro, and our 5 routes that we have listed there. I provide this to you because I think the significance of who we are and what the district's mission is to make connections, to have the connectivity between all these providers. On March 16th, we began operating services into El Paso County into 2 different locations. Our Chaparral service on our turquoise line coming into El Paso Northgate Center, and on the west side, our purple line coming out of Anthony down through Santa Teresa, Sunland Park, and then crossing over to the West Side Transit Center located on Remcon Circle. So with that in mind, our service is growing. We'll go a little bit of service into that. As I just outlined, the regional connections is something we've been doing. We started service in the last week of February last year. Within our first 12 months, our ridership had doubled during the course of the year. We operate a very lean service, I should leave with you. If you look at the schedule in front of you, you can see on the purple line, we're actually running 4 round trips, the turquoise 3 round trips. We started with 24 trips, we're now up to 30 trips, and with our contract service, 36 trips a day, carrying just about 2,000 riders this month. Our service continues to make these connections throughout a number of areas. April's ridership is really doing well. We're seeing double-digit ridership. I'm going to show you here in a moment the purple line, which is the grant that we have with you. That service actually has doubled since the beginning of the year. The grant that we're talking about here today is our 5310 grant. It's $109,000. About half of that was for a single bus that we received at the end of last year and put in service in January. As I said, actually this ridership, this slide is actually out of date because the ridership has jumped so much. It shows 40% growth. This is the vehicle that we acquired. Is one of our smallest buses in our fleet, but it works extremely well to do the kind of route deviations that we plan for the flex service. People are very popular with this bus. It does very well in fuel economy, so we actually can drive it for 2 days without having to fill that up. This is the schedule in front of you, the Purple Route schedule. It operates from Anthony to Sunland Park and then into the west side. It's roughly about 30 miles on this service. We're able to do that within just a little over an hour. We have a little bit of a layover at the transit center. We're finding very good connectivity of people trying to get from the west side transit center to Sunland Park, and in so doing, they're also connecting to the 83 Sunland Park route, and they're connecting to other services in the southern part of the district. Connections, of course, include the West Side Transit Center. We're very pleased that we're able to get a spot of our own. We're kind of on the anchor level. On the northern end of the side is the Route 10, which is the El Paso County's kind of teal line, and then we're on the other side of the transit center. It's a little bit daunting, I think, for some of our riders and even our operators when they first got in there. It's a really nice transit center. We really appreciate the facility. As more people begin to understand that we have this service available, more and more people are taking the bus. This is the 83 route that connects. It does very, very well for us. By being able to make these connections, at our Sunland Park station, the 83 connects and runs 7 days a week, and then from there, those connections can go into downtown El Paso. One of the things that we're trying to do in our service is not to duplicate transportation interest. Resources are so limited, our goal is to make better connections. In fact, one of the things our board has offered to other transit districts for the time being is that we're providing reciprocity. So anybody who boards our service with a bus pass from Sunland Park or from Sun Metro, the Gold Line, or even Roadrunner, they can board our service for free. We provide transfers for free between our services, and now we're providing them through the other services. I do believe some of that is the reason our ridership is growing, but ironically, our revenues are actually growing faster than our ridership. So some of that is kind of interesting to see as the system grows and gets a little bit bigger. We also have connections in our Northgate Center in El Paso. We've seen tremendous ridership. Most of the services were closed on President's Day, and that was actually our biggest day. It was very interesting because we only run 3 trips, round trip. So we brought a lot of people into El Paso, and the same people boarded the bus coming back at the end of the day with the bus filled with packages and a lot of information and bikes, and we do have bike racks. We also have Wi-Fi on our buses. So we get a little bit nervous sometimes on those last trips that we're able to make the trip and get it back. I will tell you, because of the flex service, we have been willing through our dispatch, when we get those calls, we have, in many cases, circled back to pick people up even after the schedule. And we've been able to do that because we have the frequency and the flexibility to do that. But I think as we get a little bit bigger, that's going to be much more challenging. So hopefully we're going to be able to put more service out there. Last thing I want to talk about today, and this is very brief, we are a few weeks away from finishing our final report on our passenger rail project. And that's something I would hope that when the report's done and available, we're unable to get to my board this month, but hopefully next month, I'd love to be able to come back and make that presentation. We found that in the study that we did over the last 12 months that there was a lot of interest. We had a full house when we had people come out for surveys in Cruces and in Anthony. Over 1,000 people participate in the survey. I will be putting the preliminary results of that survey on our website, and you can go to scrtd.org. It's also on the schedules, and take a look at that. The website we have is fairly new, so please be gentle. We're in beta testing right now, but I think you will find that there's quite a bit of information on there. One of the things that is important to say on this service is that when they compared the growth curve through 2035, what the ridership potential was on both El Paso and Las Cruces and along the corridor, we actually did very, very well in the numbers of what the ridership would be. I think the next step in this report is to take this to both the MPOs, and I think this is really a project. I know there's a lot of projects you all have, but it's really a project and for some discussion at those levels and see whether or not there's a future for some kind of a passenger rail in this region. I would tell you this, I've been involved in transit startups in other areas and other rails. It takes a long time to do it, so conversations can be soft in the early goings. It's going to be years, but it is something that has got some value. Challenges ahead, probably for us right now is funding. We did very well, and that's one of the reasons I didn't submit a 5310 grant this go around. We were able to get enough resources and funding to cover the operations of the Purple Line Flex service would be actually paid for through the 5311 grant that would begin this October for the state of New Mexico. We're actually generating more revenue in those grants. I'd love to be able to come back at some time in the future and talk about other things that we can do. I think there's some opportunities, especially working with V-Ride in Santa Teresa and making connectivity between El Paso and that part of the county of Doñana. So with that, be happy to take any questions. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I ask a question, please?
Yes, sir.
Mike Rooney, thank you. Is the passenger rail study, is that the old rail, what is it, Rail Runner? That when Mayor Cook was here, there was a proposal that to run it between Las Cruces and El Paso. But when I talked to Mayor Cook, he said the problem is if you took the rail from El Paso to Las Cruces, once you get there aren't bus routes to get around. That's my only question. Is that the same thing that was studied years ago? And I believe the city elected to go with the trolley instead just because you only have so much money. Thank you.
If you'd like, I'd be happy to respond. That predates me. What I can tell you is on our website is also a preliminary study we did several years back. And it's actually, I'm glad he brought that point up. That was one of the challenges that came out of the study. The good news is that the growth of the Roadrunner service and its ridership and its ability to make the connections from the rail station have improved dramatically since that date, as has the ridership and services here in Sun Metro and El Paso. So we actually got more points in the analysis, and that's something that will be identified in there. And so certainly something to look at, and certainly important to look at the corridor, because as you well know, that corridor is different now in the way the freight is operating up and down the corridor. Most of it's now circling around Santa Teresa en route to Deming. So certainly something to look at, and it's good to have some history as well. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. All right, we're coming to the adjournment of the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Did we excuse the absence?
We don't do excuses anymore.
No?
There's
No
a
more?
three
All right.
absence limit.
I knew that.
Second.
I'm just checking,
I'm
make sure
sorry,
the
who-
chairman
who-
knew what was going on.
Did you get the motion?
Yes.
A motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries.